I'd like to invite to the stage Michel Loriot and Udo Bormann, who are here to have a conversation with me regarding the topic of you shall not destroy what can still be of use for others. So if you'd like to come and take a seat here on the stage, we'll just get you a microphone.
Working. Does it work?
Yes.
Yep. So, my colleague Udo there as well, join us. If you'd like to take a seat as well. I think, Michel, I just wanted to introduce. Michel founded AGIGA in 2019. It's a company with a true mission, creating a marketplace dedicated to electronics manufacturers, providing a dedicated and secured web platform, a logistics hub located in Europe. And it has a local team for buying and selling excess stock of components. And that's a challenge I think many of us have faced. The remainder of a collection of components on the desk, we don't have any use for them anymore, and we know that somebody out there could actually use those. Joining us as well is Udo Bormann. Udo is the marketing manager for WEEF and looks after the Fast Forward Awards. This is a platform that Elektor runs with its partners Electronica to promote electronics startups. So what I wanted to start with, Michel, is maybe you could just introduce AGIGA to us. I think you've also got a presentation that you can run us through to tell us a bit more about the work that you do.
Yeah. Short presentation. First of all, thank you very much for attending this presentation. Thank you for your interest in ethics, and especially on my side for AGIGA. I am Michel Loriot, co-founder and CEO of AGIGA, AGIGA, let's say. AGIGA is a marketplace. I would also say it's a share place where industrial companies can sell their excess stock or low turn inventories to other industrial. Why first? It's not because we are the biggest one, because we are still young, we are 2 years old and small. But first, because this model was not existing, and we don't have the ability today to connect an industrial company with another one sharing the parts. AGIGA has been co-founded with Michel Loriot. Michel Loriot, we have the same name, it's not by chance. In fact, Nicolas is my son. It's a story with a son and father. And you would say, why having your son in the company? I would say we have the same values. It's very important for us. The company is built on the values, so we have the same values. We are really, let's say, complementary. So Nicolas is on the digital world, on my side, and more on the business development. And so another reason is that we will succeed for each other. In fact, for me, I will not succeed for me only, but for the values we are holding, but for Nicolas as well. So Nicolas is an expert in web development. Again, it's a digital platform of the service of the electronic industry. So he's in charge of let's say, all the structure of IT, is in charge of the development, the web development, of course, and also on the marketing development, development web, I mean as SEO and UX. On my side, I have been working for 30 years in the electronic component distribution for big companies. And know pretty well the distribution and what are the different channels in terms of for the electronic components. So I know the three kind of distribution. I'm pretty know them well. I mean the volume distribution, high service distribution, and independent distribution. I also know well the manufacturing, and also especially the EMS side, and the challenge that EMS are facing. That's one of them is supply chain, and we have for the last two years specific difficulties in terms of supply chain of electronic components, and we need to understand well how it works to find the way to improve the situation. So, okay, thank you. So, the supply chain, the manufacturers need to be very proactive, need to anticipate everything. You know, it's a big challenge to produce a board in, let's say, 2 months with lead times of electronic components that are 52 weeks. So they need to anticipate, to build stock, to make securing stock. So then sometimes things will go well. Sometimes they are in shortage. Sometimes we have excess stock, and it's so costly. An excess stock, economically, le SNES in France, it's an organization where we have different all the French EMS. The SNES say the excess inventory costs 1% of the turnover of an EMS. It's huge. Economically, it's costly, but it's also costly in terms of environment. We'd say, why will we have to produce for nothing? In fact, it's that, excess stock. It's very costly to manufacture, to transport the parts, and to distribute to all the people. And then it's not the end. Then we have to recycle. That is as well very costly. So Nicolas and I have thought about a solution, and as said, the marketplace could be the right solution. This one. So manufacturers, EMS, are very busy. They don't have time, too much time, and they need to have also an economic interest in their approach. So to make them accept as best as possible our solution, we need the solution to be as simple as possible. So you will see the process is simple. You have the seller. The seller is the company who has excess stock. He sent to AGIGA this file. AGIGA will do the pricing because the parts has to be at the right market price. The pricing is done by an algorithm that we have developed, 6 months development for this algorithm, and to make sure that the price will be the right one, satisfying the seller and the buyer. Then the buyer, then we put it online. The buyer comes on the AGIGA site, finds the parts, put it on the basket, accept, send the order, and then we have only to send an order to the seller that will send the parts and will be paid after all. What I want to say is, for the seller, it's very easy process. He has the file, he sends us the file, we send him an order, he sends us the pieces, and he will be paid. On the buyer, it's a really standard process. He goes on the web, our website, he finds the parts, purchases it, and receive the parts. Regarding AGIGA, as I previously said, our company, our business is built on the values. And we have a specific solution in France, but I'm pretty sure that it will be also the same in the other countries. It already exists in the US with a B Corp. It's a way that we can write in our statutes what we are and why we do it in terms of values. So it's clearly indicated our philosophy and our objectives. Our philosophy is, of course, as already said, to be economically viable. It's nothing can work if it's not viable, and to be part of a virtuous environment in terms of ecosystem. And our objective is very simple. Our objective is to give access to the industrial of this platform to make them share the parts between them, develop a frugal innovation. It's the same thing. We love to stay with, and especially in the web development, we can do more with less. And we have always to think about it. The third thing is to promote our values inside our ecosystem. I would say to finish that our situation today, we are really present in France. We are starting to be present in Spain last month. And we have the plan to be at all the European countries in, let's say, in the 2 years coming. Thank you very much. Dankeschön. Merci beaucoup. Grazie mille.
Super. So you can keep the microphone if we take a seat there in the middle. Thank you very much for that informative presentation. I think it's a fantastic concept that you've developed. As I said before, I've worked in electronic laboratories all over Europe, and there's obviously piles of components that are no use anymore for the manufacturing process. So when did, I think one of the questions around the company, the organization, is as a father and son company, obviously you've got the experience and maybe a different outlook on how businesses work. You've got your son who's younger and maybe... yeah, exactly, and yourself older. Who would you say is more ethical? Is it you or your son, or how do you balance your ethical differences?
It's a good question. We are aligned at the beginning, but not the same at every point. My son is let's say, is more on the day-to-day ethic, and on my side, I have I wish to transmit these values to the other one. So that's maybe, I don't know if it answers your question.
It's your answer, that's fine.
Yeah.
So another question then as well, you've obviously worked with larger corporations over the years.
Yeah.
Do you think that big corporations can be as ethical as small, medium-sized companies, or is that...
We had the CEO of Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very good to see big companies as well here, conscious of ethics. And I mean, I would say it's easier for a startup to be ethical, because we built everything on it. And we don't have already existing organizations with existing minds, I would say. You see what I mean? And anyway, we need the big companies do the same and to follow these ideas. And I hope that I will be able to convince them to follow us. Again, the big companies have decision organization, decision process very long, and it takes long, I know. And it will be difficult for everyone to make everyone conscious at the same level. But it's easier for a startup, and
exactly.
We have to start.
Talking about startups is a good opportunity to talk to Udo Bormann. You've been looking after the Fast Forward Award since 2018, and I think you've seen more or less every single startup that's come through that process. Do you think that startups today have a bigger interest in promoting sustainability and ethics as part of their ethos of their businesses than they did back in 2018?
Yeah, I wouldn't say more. Actually, that was a good point that Michael mentioned, that startups basically have it because they're younger, because they are approaching the ethical topics, because they need to approach them, because they're going to live the other 40, 50, 60 years. And if they don't change it, big companies struggle to implement. I mean, we heard it also from Phoenix. We heard that big companies now implementing EC teams, managers who just look at the situation, how can we make it more ethical? Startups just go on and they just start doing it automatically because they know, hey, I have to live another long time, and if I don't start it right now and if I implement it not directly in my company, well, it won't happen. And that's why I think, I wouldn't say it was 2018 more, it was the same, right? But the topics have been different back at this time. So startups, for example, from back then, I remember there was one, it's called Kevatsu. Actually, they made a scaffolding robot. So they basically realized, well, there's so much damage and health issues coming just from the scaffolding industry, and has been there for like hundreds of years, and no one even thought about it. Why? What should we do? Maybe we should change something, but we don't have the resources. It's too complicated to implement new structures, new technologies. There have been a bit of development, but it wasn't fast enough. So this startup just took the idea and said, okay, let's set it in motion. We're going to construct a robot who's bringing all the material up, so there's less labor work, and the labor work that is needed is actually really healthy, or better, definitely better conditions than it was before. And nowadays, that has been actually 2016, so 6 years later. They have been 2 weeks ago on the biggest trade fair, Bauma, for construction and build sites. So they really now are in the phase that they can sell their products to the big shot companies, and they are looking for those startups, those ideas, because they know, oh, that's great technology, and now they have a proven concept. They have actually also shown on real cases that this technology works, so they start to implement that technology. So I think, yeah, in general, it comes because they are young, they are also motivated to change something. I think that's something that you see all the years. Every startup who comes to a Fast Forward is always super motivated to present themselves. And yeah, with this motivation also comes success.
And you're part of the jury for the Fast Forward Awards. Is the ethical and sustainability aspects of those startups a consideration as you're deciding who's the winner?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it is always part of it. So the ethical part of the process is also, we don't just look on the technology side, right? We also look who are the teams behind, who are the people, where do they come from, and what are actually, are they thinking about those topics? So we have ongoing face-to-face conversation and chats, and I can invite everyone here in the crowd just to pop by at the booth in Hall B4, 440. That's the Fast Forward booth of this year. And you can meet 8 different companies who are now thriving with their new ideas and technologies to become a changer in the world for electronics. And you can have this discussion with them on the stage there, and you can ask them, hey, what do you think about it? And I think, and I'm pretty sure, they all have a really clear idea about what they want to change with their idea and how they want to do it. And that's kind of the nice part, because if you talk to the traditional companies who have been in the field for over decades, centuries, they basically don't really know what to answer. And I think those startups, they already have a really good idea.
Now, one of the lovely things about the WEEF 2022 event is that we're not just here in the Electronica exhibition center, we're also live online. And we've had a question come in from Peter Sikora. He's based in Australia, and he's telling us in his message that he has a repair shop, and he's seen the number of people bringing equipment and home appliances in for repair dropping significantly over the years, and he feels sort of disappointed that we've come into this throwaway culture where electronics maybe last 2 or 3 years and then we just throw it away and replace it. I mean, Michel, how do you feel about that compared, thinking about also your business and what you're trying to do?
So my business regards especially electronic components, but I think we have much to do on electric and electronic equipment. I mean, at the beginning we have started to heard about regulation and so on. I feel that it's not a black or white solution. We need to bring regulation, to adapt, improve regulation, and we need the powerful of everyone. In terms of regulation, I feel that a 5 years warranty on the products would certainly motivate the industry to produce more sustainable products. Maybe it could answer to the question.
Super. Well, thank you both very much for your time. Michel Loriot from AGIGA and Udo Bormann from the Elektor team and the Fast Forward Awards for your answers to those questions. And we wish you all success with your startup. Regards to your son as well.
Who is not present, who has participated to produce the presentation.
Super. Well, thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.